Hello and welcome to the channel on this rather wet and stormy December evening. It might be miserable outside, but here in the campervan it's actually quite warm and cosy and atmospheric and almost quite festive, thanks to my Spasher diesel heater and this little lantern cum music speaker that I have. But I'll tell you more about that later. My initial intention was to take you out on a nice walk today, but it's so wet and windy. You would have been, you'd have been asking, what the hell is he doing going for a walk in these conditions? It really is pretty awful out there, but it's December, it's winter. So instead, I thought I'd invite you into my camper van and into the Cameron McNeish Outdoors office party, Christmas office party. And we can maybe have a wee look back on 2023 and perhaps even a wee sneaky look forward into 2024. But before I do that, I've got some nibbles here and some wine, some nice relaxing music and some atmospheric lighting. And I've brought my guitar with me. So how about some Christmas carols? No? You've had enough of Christmas carols? Well, how about this one? Somehow I kind of think you'll know it. It was Christmas in the drum tank, and old man said to me, won't see another one. And then he sang a song, the rare old mountain dew. I turned my face away and dreamed about you. But on a lucky one, came in 18-1. I got a feeling this year's for me and you. So happy Christmas, I love you baby. I see a better time when all our dreams come true. I've been down this road before, I remember every tree. Every single blade of grass holds a special memory. And I remember every town and every hotel room, every song I ever sang with a guitar out of tune. I remember everything, things I can't forget. The way you turned your eyes on me on the night that we first met. I remember every night, your ocean eyes of blue. How I miss you in the morning light, when roses misted you. I've been down this road before, alone as I can be, careful not to let my past go sneaking up on me. Got no future in my happiness, though regrets are very few. Sometimes a little tenderness was the best that I could do. I remember everything, all things I can't forget. Swimming pools of butterflies that slipped right through the net. And I remember every night, your ocean eyes of blue. How I miss you in the morning light, like roses miss the dew. How I miss you in the morning light, like roses miss the dew. Yellow's the color of my rose here. That's the time I love the best. Blue's the color of the sky in the morning when we rise. In the morning when we rise, that's the time I love the best. Green's the colour of the sparkling corn in the morning when we rise. In the morning when we rise, that's the time I love the best. Mellows the feeling that I get when I see her. When I see her. That's the time I love you best. And freedom's a word I rarely use without thinking. Without thinking. All the times when I've been gone. Fairytale of New York. I think it's pretty seasonal, of course, but that's also my, if you like, my wee tribute to Shane MacGowan, who passed away last week. He may not have been the bonniest singer in the whole world, but what a songwriter he was, and what a wonderful character in a world that's so short of great characters. He was a bit special, I think. I watched part of his funeral service from Dublin on the telly, and I thought, yes, that's the kind of funeral I'd like to have, full of joy and love, and it was just wonderful. So there you are, and you'll maybe understand why my earliest ambitions of being a folk singer didn't really come to anything. Didn't really come to any fruition at all, and ended up as an outdoor writer, a mountain bum. But there you go. But anyway, we're here, and I think it's probably time that I poured something out of a bottle. A glass of wine, a few nibbles, and I can relax and enjoy being in the warmth and comfort of my campervan on a wild December night. And to add to the atmosphere, this little Cren handheld lantern and speaker adds a touch of, serenity. It's got this breathing sequence, and it's quite magic, different colours. You know, after years and years of backpacking in wild places around the world where the weight you have to carry in your pack is all important, you get into a mindset of minimalism, and that same mindset holds good if you use a camper van. Part of that way of thinking is choosing equipment that can fulfil a number of functions in one, and this little lantern does that job admirably. It's a torch with a maximum brightness of 1,000 lumens, and believe me, that's bright. It has settings at 40 lumens, 200 lumens, and the max 400 lumens. And with it, you get a magnetic base, so you can kind of, stick it onto the outside of your van as a kind of porch light, or you can even use it as a bike light. There's a flash mode too, so you can use it as an emergency SOS beacon, either with the white light or an array of coloured lights, and it's got an adjustable focus too, very useful. It's also a lovely wee lantern, and I've been using it on these dark winter nights instead of using up my leisure battery. You can have it as a standalone, or you can hang it up, whatever suits your particular situation in your own camper van. And I've got this wishful dream of sitting outside in these dark winter nights with my lantern on a table and a nice dram of whiskey to warm the insides, and a glowing little campfire to warm the outsides. Then I wake up and remember, this is Scotland. It's normally either too windy or too wet to sit outside in winter. Ho-hum. However, if you just want to sit back and relax, and you've this changing colour mode to add to the atmosphere, or if you're so inclined, you can have a wee disco going on in your camper van, because the lantern is also a Bluetooth speaker. and the lights will flash in time to your choice of music. You could have your own little disco going on. And with no less than 8 different functions and 25 lighting modes, including music synchronization, this little tool really is so useful for campervanners and really is the perfect sound light experience. And I almost forgot to tell you, you can also use it as a little power bank too. A single full charge offers over 35 hours of continuous lighting and sound, and is all operated from this intuitive one-button control. It's made from high-quality aluminium, weighs about half a pound, and most important of all, it's waterproof. The Cren MC01 was a subject of a crowdfunder appeal, but is now in production, and I'll put all the details down below. I'll maybe just change it to a nice warm glow, because I get a nice warm glow when I look back on this past year. For my wife Jean and I, it's been a great campervan year. We went off in March to travel down through France, Spain and southern Portugal. We took our time driving back through Portugal and then across northern Spain to Santander, where we picked up the ferry to come home. I have to say it was an amazing trip. We love spending time in places like Salamanca and Badajoz in Spain, and we particularly enjoyed being in Portugal's only national park in the north of the country, before heading to Santiago de Compostela. We walked parts of the ancient pilgrims route in day sections as we headed back towards Santander, and that was a great experience. In September, we went to Germany, and I won some matrimonial kudos by taking my wife down the fantastic Romantikstrasse, the romantic road between Würzburg and Füssen in the Bavarian Alps. And the route takes you down through forests and mountains and passes through some wonderfully atmospheric medieval towns, many of which apparently inspired Walt Disney when he was designing sets for his films, hence the name, the Romantic Road or the Romantikstrasse. We also spent some time in the Black Forest, an area so reminiscent of our own patch here in the Cairngorms in Scotland, except the hills are a bit higher and the forests that little bit denser. And in between trips we had some great times in Galloway. I climbed a few hills here and there, and we popped off for our regular nights at our own little happy place, Fintorn, on the Moray Firth. So what about 2024? Well, we're planning a month in France in March, down the west coast, past Bordeaux and along the Canal du Midi to Carcassonne and the Mediterranean. Then, all going well, along the Med coast and into northern Italy, and then back north through the Auvergne. And way back in 1979, I hiked the Robert Louis Stevenson Trail between Le Monastier and Saint-Jean-de-Gare in the Cevennes Mountains of France, and I'd love to visit that route again. And in the autumn, of course, we plan to revisit what we think is one of the best places we've ever been to, Ireland. Easy to get to, we love Irish music, and I have a particular fondness for Guinness. Even the 0.0 Guinness, which is the best alcohol-free beer I've tasted. And in between, we'll be travelling most weekends in Scotland, trying out some of the new airs that are popping up all over the place, and enjoying our walks and our bike rides. And finally, if there's anything you feel you'd maybe like me to cover on this channel, please let me know. Essentially, it's about using a campervan as a base while we walk or ride bikes. So if there's anything that you particularly like, or more importantly, something you don't like, then drop a message below. And I know, no more singing. Okay, gotcha. I got that message. Oh, I hope you all have a wonderfully peaceful Christmas. And he's wishing you all the very best for 2024. Merry Christmas, one and all. See you next year.